Hello there, folks. Bit of a different one, I suppose. This one is today. I was just outside doing some spraying of miniatures, as you can see over there, and I thought I'd have a chat with folks. I think actually, yeah. So it's very hard to talk about, I suppose, really, in the grand scheme of things. But I think everyone, especially quite a lot of hobbyists, actually go through periods of blips, I suppose you'd say, mental health blips, and we don't really talk about them. I know that we talk about them a lot more than we used to do now in our community, and there's a lot of great videos out there about sort of what people's mental health struggles have been and where people have found solace in the hobby and things like that. And so I kind of just thought that I'd sort of talk a little bit about mine as well, because for my part it's helpful to sort of get my things out there, things aired, and for others it might be helpful to see sort of how I use the hobby as a tool to help me as well, really, I suppose, too. I guess like last year, and I think now as well, going through a little bit of a lull, where you feel like you're sort of just not in the zone for anything, and you become a little bit sort of isolated and things like that. And it's nice to have a good network of friends around me. I'm not going to say that I'm, in the worst of positions when it comes to this kind of thing, but everyone has varying degrees of blip, shall we call it, and one of the things that's always stuck out to me is that I always end up, and this is something that my wife actually talked about as well recently, you end up punishing yourself. So you look at your hobby as a reward, something good, something awesome that you do, and if you feel like you're not working to the right level, or you're in these blips, these sort of downward dips, I suppose, that you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't enjoy it. You shouldn't enjoy yourself. You shouldn't watch TV. You shouldn't watch movies. You should just sort of like veg out, and that's it, really. When in actual fact, the opposite is true. And one of the things that I think is most important is that a lot of people love what they do. I love painting miniatures. I love playing war games, and so to have that escape, it's so incredibly important to keep yourself in it and doing it. Now, don't force yourself to do anything, but I think pushing yourself to that next step, to be like, right, I'm just going to sit down, maybe even if you just paint the skin on some models, or you paint the boots on your models, or something like that, that makes a massive difference. And I know that has done for me over the last couple of days. So I've been sitting down painting some Space Marines. It wasn't what I needed to paint, but it's what I wanted to paint. And so I sat down, stuck some music on, and just sort of got into the zone and just started painting. And it helped immeasurably to kind of get that little bit of a escapism that you need sometimes when it comes to your life, I suppose. And I think the same thing sort of applied quite a few years ago now. So I'm 38 now, 39 this year. But when I was at university, I was away from a lot of people that I knew, a lot of people that I considered really good friends, my best friends, I suppose. And I felt down for quite a lot of that actually as well, for a lot of those uni years. But keeping in with wargaming, keeping up with painting miniatures, reading the books, that kind of thing, really helped to create like a little bit of a lifeline to the wider hobby and those friends. And then I continued to sort of get through things regardless of how many blips and dips I was going through, I suppose, actually. And I think the same, what I'm trying to say is I think the same can be applied to anybody else who's going through this as well. So even if you are going through stuff in your own head, and maybe there's nobody around you, maybe you're far away from home, or you don't have your friends that you'd normally game with or paint with and that kind of thing, having just doing it and then interacting with people online, maybe through videos like this. And what I'm doing here will be helpful to those people who are maybe going through something similar, and remembering that you are still connected to a wider community of people who all love the same thing and inherently all have a passion for the same thing. And you will always find someone who will listen to you and take your mind off things. Maybe you want to discuss Space Marines for half an hour. There'll be a forum or a Discord or something that you can dive into to sort of escape from all of that. And to not punish yourself, as I was saying, to not sort of feel like you don't deserve to do your hobby. Do it. Sit down, get your paints out and paint some models and see where it takes you and how much fun you can sort of have with that. Because I'll trust me, it will make a massive difference. Like as I said, when I had like a blip last year, and sort of similar now as well, I thought that I was sort of just waiting to kind of like just put that to the side. I don't deserve to do that, just concentrate on other things. But in actual fact, the escapism and what it offered, it's the main thing that, you know, do things that make you feel happy in the grand scheme of things. And you might think to yourself, oh well, Ben, you work in an industry where you get to talk about miniatures and all sorts of things every day. Well, there is such a thing as overload. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And so in some cases, maybe if you need to take a break, then take a break. It'll work for different people, of course. But yeah. I guess the point of this, really, in the grand scheme of things, is to sort of say, you know, you're not alone in everything. If you are going through something, the hobby and painting is incredibly relaxing and therapeutic thing to do. You have to focus on what you're doing. You have to paint the miniatures. You have to think about colour. You have to think about the time you're putting into it. You have to zone out. And so, you know, doing it can be a massive boon to people. I've always thought it'd be really cool to, and this is something that I do with my friends. So every week we play a game of D&D, or if we're not playing a game of D&D, we will take an hour, couple of hours to sit down and we'll do painting in the evening. And just that simple act of sitting there and just painting away, chatting about absolute nonsense. Probably fairly often it's bullshit, but listening and to talking to your friends about stuff makes a huge difference. And so I think that a lot more people should sort of do like hobby nights with people. As I said, even if you don't have anybody near you that does the same hobby as you, make sure to look beyond that, maybe look on Discord, things like that. One of the channels that I watch at the moment is Liam Dempsey's channel, and he does battle reports every Tuesday and Thursday, as well as streams during the day and some during the evening as well, where he talks about all sorts of things to do with Warhammer. And I put those on and I paint away to them to take my mind off things, because it feels like you're sitting down with friends, learning, you know, like you would have done at the pub after you played some games or something like that. And it's it's really helpful. So there are lots of places out there that you can sort of get those communities together to help you with what you're going through. And you don't have to talk about exactly what you're going through. You don't have to state things, you know, to everybody. You don't have to stand up and do the whole, hello, my name is whatever, and I blah blah blah, suffer with whatever. A lot of the time people just want to sit and chat, and that can be a massive help to people. So yeah, not the video I was gonna do for today, but a video that I thought might be helpful to some people out there who are maybe going through similar things at the moment. I don't really know how to end this video, actually, to be honest, but hopefully this will be of some interest to people out there, and maybe drop some thoughts down in the comments about sort of what you're thinking and that kind of thing at the moment as well. I guess this is kind of like a hobby vlog. Who knows? I'm not going to monetize this because doesn't seem right, does it? I suppose. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you're going through something and that kind of thing, have you used the hobby as an escape, and has it been helpful to you? Because I know it has to me, as well as all my friends who are part of the same sphere, and all the people that I found online in different communities and things like that. It's nice to have that escapism, and we're in a very privileged position to have a hobby that enforces that escapism in a way. It's not like video gaming and things like that, where you're still potentially, you're not really switched off and you're sort of looking at a screen and you can't really be fully invested in it, I don't think. I think what we have as part of our hobby is something quite special, actually, and so maybe use that as something to help you with what you're going through. And yeah, there we go. A video from the garden. I'm covered in seeds and all sorts of weird things, but I've sprayed my models and I'm ready to do some painting. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below, folks, and yeah, hopefully you're doing well, and you get some helpful advice out of this, perhaps. If people are interested, I can always do some more videos in the same vein, talking about different ideas and techniques that I've had for trying to things. But I think, as I said, just doing the painting and going through the hobby is and making sure that you stick with it is the main thing. But anyway, I am waffling now. If anybody who's watching this is around at Salute this weekend, I am down at Salute on Saturday, so if you see me walking around, don't hesitate to say hello. I always like talking to folks, as I always say. Love interacting in the comments and love talking to folks about the hobby as well. So yeah, make sure to come over and say hello, do all the things, like, share, subscribe, whatever, I don't care. Right, and yeah, see you folks very, very soon for another video, a more normal one perhaps. Bye for now.